Good afternoon, or good evening now. This is Walter Bradley, and this is Heart Talk. We're here to talk about something that was unexpectedly thrown into my bandwagon as I was riding along in Livermore, California at Panama's, and we just got through the First Street Ale House. Had some good beer there. And you should visit Livermore. It's a great community. But let's get back to the tattoos. And Greg said, what do you think about tattoos? And the first thing that came to my mind, it's a statement for somebody who's insecure, who needs to say something, but that's the best way. Now, of course, for certain individuals, that may not sound good. Oh, no, that's not why I did it. And based on the input that we got through Facebook, of course, that's true. It is, as I told him, individual. Sometimes tattoos make us feel better, because when I was in the Navy, guys said, let's all go get tattoos. It's a man thing. Well, but yes and no. Tattoos are not something I did in the Navy because I thought it was counter to what I read in the Word. Deforming my body to suit me the way I wanted. And so that is me. And not everybody follows that conviction. And it's a personal conviction of mine. You know, I see this a lot of moms. And I think we all love our moms, most of us. Some of us have had really great moms. And for those of you who didn't have the kind of mom that makes you love them and care about them and want to be back with them, so to speak, as I do mine, I regret that, because there are some bad mothers. There are mothers and dads who do wrong things so terribly and so unrepentantly. They just want to hurt you and use you for their way. And I know a woman, my wife, who went through that. So I recognize that sometimes there are mothers and dads out there that you cannot say, oh, they were wonderful, I love them, they did the best for me they could. Sometimes there are parents that are just bad parents and don't deserve the title parent or mother or dad. And so I have to say that. But for those that put the tattoo mom, dad, or I love you mom, or I love you dad, you know, I don't sit there and feel it's my job to go out and point out people that have tattoos, for example, and say you're wrong. One of the things that Greg mentioned was when I do it as a memorial for, or I do it with special memories and special things that I commemorate. And we each have ways to commemorate. We take pictures. And I'm not much into pictures either, but look at me now. I'm doing a video. Because there are scriptural concerns that I have about pictures and things that I have to take in context, which is important. Marking yourself for the dead, as I was telling Greg. Or shaving yourself for the dead. Is an act of worship. And so the things that we do are an act based on what we believe and how we think. So we should never do anything that contradicts that, and that's why I don't have tattoos. But those that do have tattoos, I am not one to sit there and go, oh, you're wrong, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do this. I am not anybody's God or anybody's person to direct them. Even my son, I have one. I've been a parent, and he got a stud in his ear. And I don't approve of that. I don't teach him to do that. I said I don't want that. But he did it. But am I going to condemn him for it? No, I'm going to love him. And I made no mention of it. He knows how I feel. I've already told him. And I didn't have to get angry and say, take that out of your ear. You're just, you know, some parents are like that. Get that out. You know, there's a point and a place to say that's not appropriate, you shouldn't do that, please take it out for this time. But once a person has done something, that's their choice. And when my son did as he did, with permission of one, I'm not one to sit there and start ganging up on him and hitting him hard and trying to be Mr. Righteous. But is that the best thing for you? I don't know. What you must decide is, where is your foundation? What do you believe? And do you need to do it? Is it necessary? Excuse me as I swat flies and gnats. But, you know, the reality is Your whole life is doing actions based on what you believe. You do nothing but based on what you believe in your foundation, and that means your thoughts and upbringing and understanding of truth. I said the magic word, truth. It's not magic at all, because there's no magic to it. Reality is truth, and we all have to deal with it. And with Walter Bradley and in Heart Talk, as I speak, I like to tie things, as I have said before, to truth. And with that in mind, truthfully, I don't need tattoos to express what I say. I have a mouth, and I use it well. Ask Greg. At times I'll say things he likes, sometimes things he doesn't. But I try to do it fit time at the fit place. I fail at that because I'm not exercised as well as I should be in the Scripture. One thing that I heard today through a gentleman by the name of Dr. Bob Cook is that he was asking a gentleman who was a missionary in India why it's so hard to reach the Hindu, because they're so focused and filled with and study the Hindu scriptures that they have room for nothing else. So if a believer fills himself with the Word, as it says, you have no room for false or anything else, any untruth. And those who do have that also know they don't force it on anybody else. I'm not to proselytize and have an argument and trump every argument with the truth, knowing that I'm right by the truth, that they must do it my way. And you can convince anybody anything by the force of character, and the force of words, and the power to just overrule them. And that doesn't make a believer or a follower or one who is redeemed or saved, or nor does it get them saved. When we're judging things, whether we look at somebody with things that we don't do for our reasons, does it keep us from having a relationship and loving them? It should not. And it should not mean we look at them and say, I don't like those tattoos, but I love you. No, you stick with what is good. If the tattoos look good on them and that's their choice and they're in faith and peace with the Father on it, do not make mention of your belief in your following and bring them a stumbling block, because that just doesn't work. We're not about division, we're about unity. And what some person has faith in and confidence in, do not break or shipwreck their faith. Let the Father deal with them the way He dealt with you, with mercy. And I'm Walter Bradley, and this is Heart Talk, and that's my view on tattoos. I don't have them, but if you do, you're awesome. Thanks. We'll talk to you later. Stop by and see us. I'm Walter Bradley. This is Heart Talk. Thanks.
What does the Bible say about tattoos?
Well, tattoos, it is scripturally speaking, as I said. If you ask me scripturally what the Word says, I'm an ambassador for that. It is better not to have them. But I have to also say in Scripture that if you have done that and you are free from that, and you've looked at it and you go, oh, now I read this, but I already have them. Don't take them off. Don't, cover them up if you feel it's unnecessary or that it would offend somebody. But for those whom it is not offensive, like me, I understand the faith and people, and that you can't undo what's done. And I would say that if you have a choice, don't get tattoos. Scripturally, we have to be careful in saying that it says no to tattoos, but it does say make no markings on the body. And I'm subject to correction of the Scripture if it gives leeway with that. But my understanding is that it is preventing us from doing that, and that's why I never had tattoos, even though I had friends trying to encourage me in the Navy. Oh, just one, and just this. I didn't do it because I felt and saw that the Scriptures were not allowing that for me. And so that is what it says in Scripture. And I'll get the reference in another Heart Talk so we can talk about it more specifically in dealing with the Word, because I don't want to be speculative. But that's what I said. This is Walter Bradley, and this is Heart Talk. Thank you for watching.